comment. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, I would. Mike Randolph from the West Tampa CDC, giving an update on the West Tampa Wealth Building Initiative. The fastest growing market out there is home-based and e-commerce. We're going to do what's known as a home-based / e-commerce project. The goal is to increase public safety, increase generational wealth, and create jobs. The target population is single females, senior citizens, those with criminal records, average youth, and the low income. The impact. Within 3 to 5 years, we plan on bringing on board 120 new resident-owned businesses, which will lead to an economic impact of $24 million. In addition to that, because of the new jobs, we're talking about creating 480 new jobs with another increase of $900 million. A total impact of economic development is $33.6 million. Now, our startup cost is $200,000. When you look at the numbers, that's a 45% return on the investment since we're bringing in $34 million. In addition to that, we're using this to leverage to go after money to bring in an additional $3.5 million. Now, the other benefits is that that's going to be a 10 to 15 reduction in crime, 8 to 15% increase in sales revenue to the city since businesses are coming, and a reduction in city plan. We plan to provide an executed 30-page business plan detailing the finance and the sources and uses. So thank you. We definitely want to update the community because we plan to have the community meeting and then to come back before economic development with the full proposal. Thank you.
We're, of course, a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization whose purpose is to bring equality and social responsibility to the urban redevelopment process. UPA brings together all levels of private sector with both corporate and government initiative. Our mission is to affect the redevelopment process to enable a better and more prosperous urban environment for all members of society. And with that, our vision is through our neighborhood and investment strategy, a proposed trust, the West Tampa Economic Development Fund. It will be created to fund and support the pre-development phase of cultural business owners in the Main Street corridor in West Tampa. Using non-recoverable grants, the pre-development fund aims to support community-based Black and Latino developers and covering the costs of pre-development services. Real estate and business marketing development experts from the community desk at the trust and enterprise community partners are advisors to the pre-development fund, and they will provide technical support on select projects that receive grants from the fund. Our goal is to, as a true grassroots organization, we are adamant about encouraging our community to be a healthy and self-sufficient. As a result of the 4 major objectives, we will market, mentor, and encourage economic infusion from government and private investors. So our goal will be to provide the economic, technical, and political infrastructure needed to underpin Black, Native, and Latino American businesses. This assistance through a community collective will stimulate and preserve the cultures that have contributed so much to our society. So the pre-development loan program is as follows, and I'll hand this over to Andre to talk about the grant loan process.
So the grant loan process, as we have collaborated with Jesus, there is an application process, and we've also met with a representative that worked with Orlando Goose and also a local developer, a native Tampanian. She's very astute in developing pre-development packages. As you know, most of the Black Native Americans, Latinos, don't have the necessary funds for pre-development. Pre-development process can be very expensive, and that's usually what retards the promotion and the progress of economic development in Black, Native Americans / Latino communities. And so the process will be set up through Jesus' department, and where individuals that own property within the targeted area can apply, and either through our organization, the Urban Progress Alliance, and other developers, and for the necessary funding. And the requirements are extensive for the architectural designs, the marketing designs, engineering studies, all of those things, and also writing somewhat of what you would refer to as IPOs for private developers, tax fund credits. Also, there is an issue that we've discussed too with Joe Robinson in terms of the enterprise zone has not been extended to some of the key areas there in the West Tampa area. So those things, funding for that needs to be considered, and working with the city and the individuals, the government officers who are in a position to designate that enterprise zone component. That allows us to recruit and raise more funds for the small or medium Black, Native American, and Latino property owners that intend to develop their businesses. And so this is a critical piece. Without this, those businesses will fail. You know, if this was a bidding situation, typically you spend $50,000 to $60,000 just to submit a bid in to develop property. So here with these property owners, you know, raising that kind of money and going to a bank and say, well, I need pre-development money just to come up with the idea is a hard nut to crack. And so this program is needed. The way it's structured is acceptable by state government agencies. It has been proven in other states, and I don't have the verification for that now, but the template design that we put together will pass the test for certain local, city, and state governments. And so that's basically it in a nutshell. Without this money, these businesses will be bought up, negotiated, manipulated, and or the codes will basically write it out of existence. So it is imperative that we get this program up and operational as soon as possible. That's my take.
And with the document that you have in hand, it describes a little bit more of the program. And with that in closing, I'd like to thank you for your time and your attention, and we'll entertain any questions. The Urban Progress Alliance members are Andre Hill Sr., Chairman, yours truly, President. Andre Hill Jr. is our COO. We also have Roger Grunke as our architect and Arlene Arena as our board member. So thank you very much for your time and your attention.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Urban Progress Alliance. Are there any questions at this time? Body.
Mr. Chair, this is Jesus. I see Janice's hand up, but just to make it clear, this body, the subcommittee, has no motion powers because this is a workshop, but you can, if you wished, recommend basically, without a motion, to have this be reviewed by legal. Legal will not look at it without support of the subcommittees, then from there it could go to CAC. There is some items in there that would have to be funded through banks that are community redevelopment, community reinvestment act banks, also potentially CDFIs, community development finance institutions, and also staff is also recommending partnership if possible, with 2 not-for-profits to execute their plan, but that's up to Urban Progress Alliance. But other than that, they did give a good presentation, so I'll be quiet now. And Janice had her hand up, so does Michael Randolph after her, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Janice?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hill, you mentioned that Jesus would be, or that your program would go through Jesus. Are you saying that he will be working with you, with the program, and if so, at what stage?
As far as funneling it back to the CAC board after approval from the subcommittee.
Okay, so that's all you meant.
Yes.
Okay. He would still oversee once everything is completed, once the monies are allocated to whatever organization.
No, to clarify, anything staff would do, staff would not run a program. Anything that is allowed by CRA to be funded, the CRA, it would basically be a grant from the CRA. Of course, we'd have to scrutinize our legal team, what can and can't be funded, and staff would not run any not-for-profits programs. But I think they have the capacity to run whatever programs they propose.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I have a question. Ms. Janice just asked a question, and I'm kind of piggybacking on that. So it sounds like the CRA, you want the CRA to put in funds with whatever grants that you're going to be trying to get. Is that what you're saying?
The original proposal that we submitted in was set up for a budget to work with the various property owners, where the organization would be technically writing the narrative on the marketing, the fundraising, the architectural engineering, and what have you. The way the state and the city requirements in order for this to pass the asset test with legal is that the funds will be appropriated per project to the individual property owners to be administrated by the developing source like ourselves, Urban Progress Alliance. So technically, once the application of the individual is submitted in, the granting will be granted directly to the property owner or the business owner with a business plan to be prepared by such developer.
Okay, and how are you going to identify owners? Do you already have owners identified, or?
So we have a few of the property owners that are in the West Tampa area. These are Black Native Americans and Latinos that are interested in developing their property. We've met with them and we explained to them the process. So yes, and each one of those, to what I understand, the economic development will have review of those packages as well. So but they will basically, have to put in an application with us that will be approved by Jesus's office, and then we initiate the process.
Okay, and you said that you would. I'm looking at the time, because you said grants are involved. That could be an extensive process. So that's what I'm a little concerned about, the grant process also, because it could get kind of complicated.
Well, as the program grows, of course, there will be matching funds down the road. But right now, we need to look specifically for the targeted property owners in the West Tampa area, and those funds going directly from the CRA into a budget to pay for the necessary services of marketing, advertising, legal, and also and all the engineering studies necessary to deem the property feasible to develop. And so our expertise come in finding matching funds with the various banking sources, tax credit sources, other funding sources that we are privy to get involved. But the primary funds coming directly from the CAC board via the CRA are required to save these businesses.
Okay,
Mr.
that's
Chair,
all
we
the
have
questions
Mr. Michael Randolph and Carlos with their hands up as well, just to let you know.
Okay, this is Mike Randolph. First of all, Andre Hill, got nothing but respect for that guy. I appreciate everything that you did. Just some observations as you move forward. The first observation is, why did you present a strategic plan versus a business plan, since this is focused on economic development? The second thing is that you talked about grants, but you didn't talk about earned income. We know that organizations that depend only on grants don't stay around for so long. So maybe the next time, can you present a 3-year plan on how you plan to bring in earned income? And the other thing is to talk about your sources of funding. Do you have commitment from lenders? Do they have letters of commitment from the lenders and investors? This will go a far way in doing what you want to do, because I know this idea has been with you for a while. So I know it's coming to fruition. This is not just starting, people know about you. And then the other thing is, how does this differ from CDFI money that provides money to businesses, especially in low-income neighborhood? And then if you could think about putting together a list of your expertise. But having said that, man, I appreciate you. West Tampa appreciate you. You keep coming back, because that means that you really want to get it done. So thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.